is Nisha. I'm a business mentor for freelance web and graphic designers, and in this video I'm going to be sharing 5 ways to cut down on revisions, and they're probably things that you've never heard of before. Now, as freelance web and graphic designers, it's our job to listen to our clients' feedback and complete revisions, aka design changes, to make our clients happier. But sometimes clients can take advantage of that. Not on purpose most of the time, but sometimes it is on purpose. And so that's why I'm recording this video, to kind of help you get out of those kinds of sticky situations. Now leave me a comment and tell me, do you usually complete more revisions than originally allowed in your design packages, and how does that affect your projects? What tends to happen is clients request more and more revisions, asking for this tiny favour and that tiny favour, and before you know it, you've gone weeks over your deadline and you've put in hours more than you thought, hours that you haven't been paid for. I once took on a project that went a whole month over the deadline when I originally started my business. And I knew that because I tracked my time. And when I looked at my time tracker at the end of the project, I realised that I had earned just £1.50 per hour because I had gone hours over what I originally thought that I would. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to be kind and I really wanted to do my best for this client. It was one of my first clients and I just really wanted to be the best designer they'd ever worked with. I wanted to be kind, I wanted to get repeat work, and I wanted a glowing testimonial that I could add to my website because I didn't have many. But if you're in a similar kind of situation, here's what you need to understand. Boundaries around revisions don't make you mean or unkind. It makes you a good business owner. A good client will respect those boundaries and they'll think no less of you because of them. In fact, a good client will think more of you if you have boundaries in place around these kinds of things, because boundaries make you seem like a true professional, the professional that I know you are. And do you really want repeat work from a client who doesn't respect those boundaries? I don't think you really do, and I don't either. Now, a question that I hear a lot in my Facebook group is, how can I cut down on revisions and make sure that my projects stay on track towards their deadline all the time? The first way is to repeat the number of revision rounds included in their design package to your client again and again. The thing is, people are forgetful, we all are. You can't just tell your clients once and think that they will remember, especially if they've got a family and they've got a business to run. It's not their fault if they forget these kinds of things, so it's your job to help them remember. Repeat yourself on your sales page or your FAQ page. So usually most designers have a process section on their sales page that gives the client a bit of information on how the process goes. So inside of that section, I want you to include information on how many revision rounds you include in your design packages. Now, if you have a price list, like I know a lot of designers do, where you don't list your pricing on your website, maybe you send a price list in the form of a PDF to your clients. In that case, I also want you to list your process inside of that price list and give that revision round information inside of that too. Now, I'm assuming that you offer a free consultation to your clients before they book you, just so that you and the client can get a good feel for each other and discuss things, answer questions before you go on to book them as your client. Inside of that consultation, I want you to bring up the topic of revision rounds. So you could do that by simply telling the client, this is how my process goes. Just relate the process to them within a minute or so, and inside of that minute, explain how many revision rounds your packages include. Now, next up, I want you to include this information inside your contract as well. This is probably the most important place for you to put this information. So please, please don't miss this out. And if you don't have a contract, I highly recommend that you get yourself one ASAP. My good friend Annette Stepanian has a fantastic web, graphic and print design contract for designers. It's completely editable and it is just awesome. So I will link to that below this video if you haven't got a contract in place already. But inside of your contract, you should be including how many revision rounds are inside of your package and what will happen if the client uses up those revision rounds and still needs more revisions. I also think that you could include information on revisions inside of your proposal or your invoice. So usually most designers, including me, will add a section at the bottom of the invoice and proposal that details payment information. So how payment will work, what will happen if the client fails to pay on time, things like this. You could, if you want to be really on top of this, you could also include information on revision rounds inside this section of the invoice because it ties in nicely with payment information. You could also explain to your clients about revisions and how many they have at the very start of your project if you use something like an onboarding page. Now, if you're a student in Organise and Automate, my course, then you'll know what an onboarding page is. But if you don't, basically an onboarding page is a page of all the information that your clients need to know before working with you. And I like to send this to my clients once when they initially get in contact with me about their interest in working with me, and then again when I've booked them, just to make sure that they have definitely gone over all of the information inside this page. So on your onboarding page, it's really important to include information like revision rounds and how many is included in the project and what will happen when those are used up. And the last place that you should repeat this information is inside of your project management tool, which brings me nicely to point 2. Use a project management tool to communicate with your clients. It's the best way, hands down, that I've cut down on revisions. Inside of your PM tool, you can outline how many revisions are in each stage of your project. You can tick them off as you go through, and your client only has to log in to see exactly what revision round they are on and how many they have left. Now, if you've never used a PM tool before and you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by the thought of learning how to use one, then don't worry, I've got a free Project Management for Designers course, which I'll link to below this video. Now, number 3 is be clear on what happens if your client needs extra revisions. Extras should cost extra money, and it's usually at your hourly rate. The thought of paying more than clients already have usually puts them off from purchasing extra revisions, but if they do want them, it's good to give them that option. Make it clear how this process works. Make it clear on your sales page, in your contract, and again on your onboarding page. Now, number 4, stand firm with your boundaries. Even after this, you may get a client that tries it on anyway, but stand firm. If you give in and complete revisions for free, you're breaching what you said in your contract. And it also gives the client permission to ask for more free stuff and get away with more unfair things. The client isn't the bad guy here. If you aren't standing by your boundaries in your contract, your client will just subconsciously take this as permission to get free things from you. But if you stand firm, your client will respect that. They're smart people and they most likely do the same kinds of things in their own business, so don't worry too much about standing firm. If you stand firm, your clients will respect that. They're smart people and they most likely have the same kind of boundaries in their own businesses. And number 5 is create a template. It can feel icky to say no to a client who just asked you for extra changes and tell them that they have to pay extra. So instead of putting yourself through the agony of typing a respectful yet firm reply each time, create a template. If you're using email, use canned emails to save your template. And if you're using a project management system, create a new project called scripts and add your scripts there. Then when you need to use one, just go into that project, copy it, go back into the client project and paste it into that conversation that you're having with the client. Using a script takes the ickiness away and makes things not so personal anymore. Without a script, you'll most likely spend 30 minutes or so each time writing it, rewriting it, dreading how the client will react. But your client will most likely read it and agree to stick to those terms because they're not as demanding as you think they're going to be. Clients are reasonable if you are reasonable, and simply reminding your clients of your terms is reasonable. I made a free script that you can use to remind your clients of your revision policy. So whenever a client asks for free revisions, feel free to copy and paste this script and send it to them. The link is below this video. Now, if you're watching this video on YouTube and you like it, be sure to hit subscribe and share it on social media. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.